Hi, Mark and Tamil Kenny with Think Multifamily. We're here to talk to you today about step 14, operating your brand new apartment investing building. Mark, what are some of the things that once you close your deal, what is the transition into operating the deal?
Right, so now is where a lot of the work begins. So, one thing for us, I'm going to talk more about third-party management, because a lot of people that buy larger properties like us, they're going to have a third-party management.
Right.
So you're going to have a property management company, right? So they're doing the day-to-day. So they're the ones that are leasing, they're evicting, collecting rents, things like that. But you have to watch over them, right? So you want to make sure you get, let's say, from them a weekly report, kind of show what's happening, occupancy, traffic, how many people came by to look at property, people actually leased, things like that. And you're gonna get monthly reports as well. Monthly reports, a lot more detailed. They're gonna have, we talked about in
Mm-hmm.
step 4 about the T12, trying 12, talk about the rent roll. You're gonna get those on a monthly basis.
Okay, awesome. So what else does the property management company provide for you in order to help you operate your new apartment building? They provide you the weekly reports and the monthly reports. Is there anything else that you do? Is it just via emails? You get on calls?
Yeah, you have phone calls with them where you walk through, usually the weekly report in detail. You're going to go through rehab as well. You want to track the rehab very closely. You want to also decide how much money you give them for rehab. So let's say you have a $300,000 rehab project, and it takes time to do that.
Right.
And you have your own bank account over here, right? You don't want to necessarily move all $300,000 over to the property management company, right? You want to do it based on the work that needs to be done. So, and PM companies can vary. Sometimes they'll do distributions for you to investors.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll pay your asset management fee out of there. So those are all things you want to do. The key really for taking over a property is that you have to keep in mind, occupancy, for example, people, contrary to people think, occupancy could go down.
Why is that?
Because the previous owner might have been just leasing to people they shouldn't lease to, right? So they have people in there you don't want.
Right.
So that can happen. Also realize it's going to take you, your first 2 months of operations, generally speaking, isn't really reflective of how it's going to be. Third month is really when everything kind of shakes out.
Right.
Give you an example, the first month, you might not have everyone there for payroll. You might have deposits you're putting on utilities. You have extra expenses that are one time, that just, software costs, that won't be there, in the third month. So it takes a while. Back on the utilities, important thing to know too, depending where you're at in the country, you can actually get like a bond for utilities. So sometimes you might pay thousands of dollars for utility deposit because the city's saying, well, we don't trust that you're gonna pay everything, so we're gonna require you to pay, a fee, a deposit. Well, sometimes you can get a bond for much, much cheaper, and you pay a couple $1,000s for a bond as an example, and now you don't have to pay the deposit to the city, which can save you a lot of money.
Absolutely. So I would imagine we go into more training about how to go about getting a bond in our training. Yes?
Yeah, we talk, if you have questions around the surety bond, really what you just all need to do is call, because every city's different. Just call the city and then find out if their bond is an option for them.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So after you close your apartment deal and then you're beginning to operate and you're starting to work with your property management company, how soon should our investors expect any kind of reports or dividend checks?
Yeah, so dividends can depend on the deal. We usually say 6 months, even though it could be sooner, depending on the type of deal. Reports, so if I closed, on January 1st, January's numbers won't be out till the 15th or 20th of the next month.
Of February, yeah.
So I've had deals we closed and 2 days later someone says, where are the reports? It's like, plus you might close mid-month, right? Or a week into the month or whatever it might be, so the reports aren't full. So it does take a couple months before those reports kind of really are meaningful. But just keep in mind, the month closes and then usually 15 and 20 days after that is when you're going to get the reports.
Okay. So are there any other ways that we can help people to increase revenue once we start operating the property?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, we talked before, every dollar you can get is, let's say, $15 of value, right? Every dollar. So if I can do revenue, let's say for example, maybe parking. Reserve parking, right? It doesn't need to be covered even.
Yeah.
We get this for properties that surprise me, we can get it. You could have valet, trash. We do this at properties that I'm surprised we do it at. There are other things, pet fees, things like that. You might say, well, laundry income, whatever. That all sounds like, little numbers, right? It's not. You start adding up these numbers and you put a cap rate on it, like we teach in step 4.
Right.
It's huge.
Right.
Increase in value. So those are definitely ways you want to look for. Expenses, people think they're going to be a lot more efficient than the current owner, right?
Yeah.
Not always. At a minimum, typically your property taxes are going to go up, generally speaking, for most places. So your expenses might very well go up compared to where they are today. And just because you did on another deal doesn't mean you can do it on this deal, because utilities, for example, we have 2 properties next door to each other, and one is a lot higher for water than the other, just the way it works.
Yeah.
So don't always use previous experience. It helps, but you also have to look at the individual deal closely.
Great. Well, that's all we have for now on step 14, operating your apartment investment. Stay tuned. Bye for now.
Bye.